In the previous video, I talked about finding suppliers to sell on Amazon. However, in this video, I'm going to talk about finding products to sell on Amazon, given that you already have a supplier. So, in the previous video, I looked at Tactical Arbitrage, which is a sourcing software, Skugrid, and Rakeiden, which is a cashback site, Skugrid, which is a product management software, as different ways that we could potentially find suppliers. However, Zorro is a very popular supplier that does work with Skugrid, by the way, and also with that sourcing software. But what if you want to do this stuff manually without software, which is really pretty much my specialty, as I build automations and programs to help automate this stuff without sourcing software? Well, first of all, there are different ways we can go about doing that. And one way is that we can just take actual products from Zorro, specific products, and we could search those products on Amazon. And just basically, when you do that, you're copying and pasting the titles, and you're really just hoping that these products will show up on Amazon, and then you have to compare the product and see if it's profitable, if you're even allowed to sell it, so on and so forth, right? Now, of course, that process, of course, it's always time consuming, but that's really very time consuming. If you have to end up going through a large number of products before you find one that's profitable, that could be a very long process. However, something else that you can do, which can also reveal a lot of products, is that you can actually take a look at the brands that that supplier sells. So many suppliers, Zorro included, will actually, if you go on Google, you can search the name of the site, Zorro.com, and the word brands, and a lot of times that will bring you to a page where their brands are. However, in the case of Zorro, they actually do have a link at the bottom of the page you can go to, and you can click that to get to their brands, right? Now, the reason why the brands are so useful, well, is that if the supplier is selling these brands, and if Amazon is also selling those same brands, then there's a good chance that they're going to have some products that are going to be on the supplier website and also selling on Amazon at the same time. So that's basically the logic behind this, right? And that way, if you do have software to check your brand restrictions and things like that, I recommend Seller Assistant app. I have a link if you want to get a deal on that, actually. And I have a lot of videos I've done in the past with Seller Assistant app. And that will kind of, you can use that to check brand restrictions. But if you don't have that, there are other things you can consider to help you decide if a brand might be safe. So basically what I'm going to do is just take one of these brands and copy it, go over to Amazon and just search the name of the brand, 3M, for instance. And really, I'm just trying to get an idea if that brand is even on Amazon, because the thing is, there are brands where literally you will search them on Amazon and there are like no products at all, right? Where that brand really does not exist on Amazon. Their products don't exist. And there are other brands that you search on Amazon that have a lot of products. So you can see that there are a lot of 3M products on here. Now, the same way you do that on Amazon, you should do it on the supplier website. Because on the supplier, they may also have only a small number of products for that brand. Just because the supplier has that brand listed, it doesn't mean that they have a lot of products. So I've been on websites where they had 5 products of one brand, and that was it. So that can happen. Now, in this case, 3M has 34,000 plus items, so obviously you don't have that issue here. You have a ton of products of the brand. And at a glance on Amazon, I'm going to zoom out a bit so we can see more of the page at once. It appears that there's quite a number of 3M brand products here as well on Amazon, right? We can see a lot of products here on the first page. We can go to page 2, and we still see 3M products showing up. So this is a brand that has a lot of products. However, the other thing we need to be concerned about is the brand itself. And so one thing to look for, and you really have to look at more than one product, but you want to see who's selling it. So Amazon is selling it. It's not my favorite thing when Amazon sells a product, because Amazon typically has very low prices, and I would imagine that's because they can go to the brand and they can get a very large quantity at a discounted price, or however that process works. Amazon is always able to get much lower prices on brands. So that's not my favorite thing, but they may not necessarily be selling every single product of that brand, but they might be selling a lot of them. As you can see, it's kind of difficult to do this manually and to go through. I mean, it's not difficult, but it will take a lot of time to go through a lot of these different products just to see who's selling them, how many are selling, so on and so forth. So to help out with that, I built an automation. Now, first of all, before I get into the automation, even besides that, you need a list of the actual brands. So that is something that I provide. I provide a number of brands lists that I've scraped from a few different places, Zorro being one of them. And so here's the spreadsheet. You can get this from me, actually, and a bunch of other brands lists that I have. Use a link in this video. You can just subscribe to my list so that I can send you information. First of all of these different brands lists. You'll be sent to a Google Drive folder where you can go ahead and download all this stuff. All right. And what I'm going to do is use this platform. Now, you may or may not be familiar with this platform. It's called Automa. Automa is a free, open platform where really anyone can develop and run browser automations. And basically, when you add this platform to your computer and to your browser, what happens is that I have a page on there, or I have a bunch of tools, my automations that are posted on there, and you can simply just add those automations, right? So you'll just go to workflows. When you install this, you go to browse workflows, and you'll just see all the different workflows that are on here on Automa. And you can just search, like, I haven't posted this one yet. I actually just kind of finished cleaning it up. But if you put Amazon, you'll find a number of different ones that are on here. Oh, apparently some other people did some scraping. So some other people who might have scraped Amazon search results as well. I'm not sure what theirs are like, or if they work with Google Sheets. Just from the look of it, theirs are so short. Let me see. Okay, I see what they did. So they just got like some data here. Okay, and just kind of exported it. But mine, actually works with a list. But just to show you how this works, and then you just click Add to Extension. And once you click Add to Extension, it's going to add that automation. Will just be added to your Automa. Now that one is not mine though. So mine is already open on my Automa. Where's mine that I just had? Okay, I just had mine open, but it looks like it got moved. So here's mine. Mine is Amazon Search Scraper from Google Sheets. So mine actually scrapes from the Google Sheets list. So once you've added it on, you're now just going to go over to Zorro.com brands list, take all these brands and copy them. Go over to Amazon, not Amazon, go over to, well, yes, Amazon, the Amazon Search Scraper Automa template. This is a Google Sheet, and then you just paste the brands. I already did it, but you just paste the brands in here, okay? I have them here in this input sheet. So now to run this automation, I'm going to go here. Actually, first of all, yes, I am going to go to the automation. I want you to see how this is broken down. And you can kind of zoom in this way. You can scroll up, or you can kind of drag things into view. This trigger block is a very important block, because when you open this trigger block, you double click and you click parameters. I have certain kinds of defaults in here, and you may need to change them. These will probably be blank, and I'll just make them blank so you can see how it will pair. And then some have defaults. So this is default to Amazon.com. If you're on a different domain, you can try changing it to see if it works for your domain. But I know it definitely will pull the data for Amazon.com. All right, and first of all, the sheet URL, you're going to take that from up here. This is the spreadsheet URL for the input sheet. Okay, I have to make that very clear. For the input sheet, you just copy and paste that in here, right? Now, here, this is the output spreadsheet ID. And this is another parameter where I want to set the default because I don't want to have to keep entering this if I'm going to keep using the sheet. This is the spreadsheet ID right here in between edit and between D/. You just copy that, you go back over here and you paste it, right? And that's the spreadsheet ID. You have the keyword column, which is A. That's like the input. Okay, the keyword column is the column that has the keywords that you want to search. That's column letter A. Okay, the heading row is the first row. The start row, this is where you're going to start. This is actually where you're going to start. Okay, you're going to start from right here, which is row 2. This is where you're going to start reading these words and pulling the data, right? Then you have the destination sheet, which is output in this case, right? The name of the destination sheet, where I'm going to actually put the data, is going to be the output sheet, okay? So that's by default output. So these settings are based on the template I have, but you can change these. And actually, I'm going to save this. Once you store the Google Sheet URL and the ID and all of that, and you actually run the automation, this is the play button, so to speak, you can actually change the start row, for instance, right here. The output, the whatever, the destination column, the maximum number of products you want. You can actually set these here. The reason why I set these on the block is that I don't want to have to keep putting these in every time. So these are now going to be defaults. They will always populate in here every time I run the automation. However, the start row, that's something that you're going to need to change if you keep rerunning from different points. So right now we're in row 2. To start, we have a maximum number of products that we're going to pull. I'm going to set it to 1 just to make this a bit faster, but of course you can pull more products, and that's per keyword, okay, per keyword. So in other words, our keywords in this case are the brand names from Zorro. So for each keyword, I'm only going to pull 1 Amazon product for now, right? So now when I run this automation, it's going to go ahead and open up the Google Sheet with that URL I gave it. It's reading that 3M brand name. Then it's going over to Amazon now to search that brand name in the search on Amazon. And just wait for that. Once it searches, remember I only told it to pull 1 product, so it's only going to pull 1 product. Just wait for that. Okay, so it opens 1 product. Right now it is actually pulling the data, certain data from the product. Once it's finished, it will simply close that product. And it will move on to the next keyword on the list, which is a different brand, right? It has to close this, I think, yeah. So now it will move on to Duracell, which is the second brand on the list. All right. Of course, I'm not going to go through all of these brands. In fact, I'll probably just do these 2, just to see what the result is. So again, it's just pulling 1 product from each, and I'm doing this just to be, for the purpose of this video, to make it a bit shorter, and so you can just see the process. So again, you will select a larger number of products when you do this in reality. Okay, let's just wait for that. All right, since it will take a while to do all of this, I will just close it. I am going to take a look at the output sheet and see if anything is outputted. If not, that's fine. There may be a reason for that, and I'll just I will stop it. Okay, so it might not have actually outputted that, and I think I know exactly why. This is not the sheet, it's this one. And okay, so I think what happened here is that I did not share it for editing. I completely forgot to share the sheet for editing. So when you do this, you have to share the sheet for editing. Okay, you've got to share and change restricted to anyone with the link. can edit the sheet editor. Okay, it's very important that you do that. All right. If it's not shared for editing, then it's not going to write to the output. Now you don't really need to do that. You can just depend on the exports, but I know a lot of you like when it runs straight into the sheet, so that's typically I try to keep that option in there. I try to design these with that option, but it's important to note that Google Sheets, right into a Google Sheet, requires Google Sheets API, which is free, but Google Sheets has a rate limit, and so sometimes with these automations it will stop the Google Sheet API, and so that's why I still have it export the data at certain points in the automation. It will also export your data to a CSV onto your computer, so that if the Google Sheet does not write the data, you can simply import the download CSV into your Google Sheet, right? So you do have that other option, just so you know. Okay, so now this time it should be writing the data. So I just want to take a quick look. Am I now just doing Dorcel? Okay, so just wait a little bit. Okay, I just wait a little bit to see if I get some data here. I'm going to have to stop this, otherwise it will take too long. And I'll just wait until it actually closes these tabs, these Amazon tabs, just so I can be sure. All right, I think, okay, right. So now I'm going to go back to Automa and press stop to stop the automation. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the template. Yes, here's the data. Right, so here's the data that was now printed to the spreadsheet. So we have the keyword 3M, and we have Dorcel, right? So this is the search URL, the ASIN, right? The URL for that ASIN, so you can actually go investigate the product. The title, let's make that small. The price, the brand, as you can see, is not actually saying 3M, however. So that can happen. So we'll take a look at that. Ships from, sold by, Amazon. Okay. Ships from, sold by, Amazon. Duracell, Duracell store. That's the brand. Ships from, sold by, Amazon. Right? So on and so forth. Features and description. So now this is only 2 products and 2 brands, so it's not enough. That, I mean, if I were really doing a real research process here, I would be doing way more than this. But what I'll do is on my own, I will pull more data from some different brands so that I can actually show you like a more complete list and talk about, some conclusions we can draw from that. But basically, right off the bat, I see that these brands are sold by Amazon. For me personally, that's already a thing that I'm going to be looking at. That if it's sold by Amazon, there's a good chance, again, that the prices might be too low or something like that. So it's not going to really be my preference that it's sold by Amazon. Some people will tell you to go ahead to sell products that are sold by Amazon because they're considering the traffic that those products will have and all of that. But usually you're not able to compete with the price, especially talking about the retail model where you're not, where you're buying from a retail supplier. That type of thing, meaning retail dropshipping or online arbitrage, right? So that's typically not my favorite thing. But if you were to pull more products from the brand, you might find that some of them are not ships from, sold by Amazon. So it really just depends. But again, you need to pull way more data, a lot more brands. You need to pull a lot more products. So the idea is that you run this automation on a separate computer, because you can run it on a separate computer that you're not working on. Just kind of have it running, and then as the data gets pulled, you can look at the data and you can come back and draw some conclusions. That's going to be a lot faster than you manually going onto Amazon and actually searching each brand individually. And not saying that you should never do that, because depending on what you're doing, you may have a reason why you want to just do that. But I think this is a great way. If you don't have something like Keepa, which is a great, powerful software that I highly recommend for pulling lots of product data. But if you don't have Keepa, if you don't have that kind of software, this is kind of an alternative to where you can feed it a list and still pull a lot of product data. It's just not going to be as fast as something like Keepa, because it's actually doing it physically in the browser. So it's what I call auto manual, because it's still manual, but it's automated manual. It's doing it manually in the browser as you would, but it's doing it automatically, but it's self-running. So it's basically auto manual, and it's faster than normal manual. And the thing is, you can run something that's auto manual while you do something else. So you can multitask, you can get more done in the same time. So it's, even though it's slower than a software, it's still advantageous versus if you're just going to do it 100% by hand, you're going to save some more time with the browser automation. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much the process. Again, I started with the brand. With the supplier, which is Zoro in this case. I navigated to their brands and basically searching their brands on Amazon to find products. Of course, the real final process is then to actually look at specific products, source them back to Zoro, and do the profit calculation and all of that. I have a tool that helps you to do that, the Amazon Matcher spreadsheet, and in another video I can do some examples of that, where I will actually take products from a supplier such as Zoro, scrape a page of products using a Chrome extension, and then once I put those products in here, the Amazon Matcher actually finds those products on Amazon. It finds Amazon matches. And then I have another browser automation. Again, if you don't have Keepa, I have a browser automation that pulls in the title, the price, and all this other data. So really, with these automations that I'm bringing to you in these spreadsheets, you actually can do product research, quite a bit of product research and bulk research, without actually having any sourcing software. That's pretty much been my goal. And that's what between the spreadsheet, the Google Sheets, and the browser automation, it kind of helps pretty much to complete that goal. But there's certain things that you just, like, only the software is going to do, like things like brand restrictions. I would suggest Sell Assistant app. I have a link in the description for that. That's going to be a great tool for that. Sell Assistant app. You got to deal through my link, and that's basically, I've demonstrated that in other videos. That's going to give you the brand restrictions. However, if you don't have that, maybe what you want to do is tend to focus on products where there are multiple sellers, and that kind of helps you to determine that the brand is less restricted if other people are able to kind of consistently sell it. That sort of thing can help, but of course having that actual report on the brand from the software is really the best thing that you can have. So that's pretty much it. Check the description of the video, because again, I have a bunch of links, and I have some brands list. I have a Google Sheet here that I put together that is going to serve kind of as a master sheet that you can visit. There's a link there for you to visit, where I'm going to have other product lists on it that you can click and open. So I have like the Amazon Matcher as I'm running different. I did a video on this one. Supplier website baseball savings, where I matched some products there, for instance. And then I also have these brands and supplier lists, which you can subscribe to my email list and you'll get these. Okay, so it's free. There's no charge for that, but you're just going to subscribe. I'm going to send you all these brands and email lists, and keep you informed on anything else I have. So that's all that's about. And so those are a couple things you can check for in the description. And that will include this Rake It In brands and suppliers list I have here, which I didn't talk about really in this video. And it will include the Zoro brands list, which I just used and demonstrated in this video as well. As for Automa, I have a link for that too. You'll have to download and add this Automa to your computer, so I have a link for that. And then there should also be a link for the, you need the template also. You don't really need it. You can kind of recreate this template on your own, but a template would be handy. So anyway, that's about it for this video. I think I pretty much did what I needed to show you in this video. Comment suggestions or questions, you can just leave them below. And Mr. Mark can contact me, or I'll see you in another video.